Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Late Monday night, the USC commitment sweatshirt. It comes back out as another 2026 commitment in three-star cornerback Joshua Holland. And I think we were all thinking the same thing here. And that is a St. John Bosco kid staying home, committing to USC. We've talked about this extensively over the last couple of months. Lincoln Riley, this USC program, they need to put more effort recruiting the state of California. And quite frankly, they just need to have a little bit more success recruiting the state of California. And I think what's so exciting is not only is Joshua Holland, very good football player coming out of the state of California, you take an early peek at this 2026 class for USC. You have 5 commitments in the boat. 4 of them are from the state of California. And if that's just an early omen in terms of what USC is going to do in this 2026 class, I think this is massive news for USC fans, where you're kind of seeing Lincoln Riley finally sink his teeth into the state of California. And the way I look at it, USC, the premier program in the state of California, this is a state of California that has a ton of high school talent. I just took a look at the list. You got 30 top kids in the state of California, all in the top 300 nationally. I mean, this is a loaded state of high school talent, and there is no reason that USC should not be dominating the state of California on the recruiting trail. And again, an early sneak peek to this 2026 class, the biggest takeaway is 4 out of your 5 commitments are from the state of California. We hope this trend continues for USC. Going to get into Joshua Holland and to talk a little bit about what he brings to this USC defense. Before we do, and as always, just want to say thank you to you guys and to the USC fans. Late Monday night, there is nothing I'd rather be doing than talking USC on the recruiting trail. I've had a blast doing it. The amount of support you guys continue to show, it truly does mean a lot. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, let's get into Joshua Holland. But I first want to kind of drive home what fires me up the most about this commitment. Now, don't get me wrong. Joshua Holland is the exact cornerback that Doug Bell and Dan Lynn want in this defense, right? 6'2", 170, extremely long physical frame. But I think more importantly, recruiting the state of California, that's the trend we want to see. We led with this. You have 30 kids in the state of California who are ranked top 300 nationally across the country. This is one of the most talented states that you see in the country. USC is the premier program in this state. There is no reason that a majority of these kids should have USC in their top 3, and a lot of them should be playing their football for this USC program. You go back to the times we've seen USC at the top of the college football landscape. It is filled with California talent. And I think USC, Lincoln Riley need to get back to that kind of motto. We've talked about this before. You look at all the other, top programs across the country, Georgia and Alabama. You look at Ohio State, Texas, they all have these blueprints that they recruit extremely effectively, right? Georgia and Alabama recruit the Southeast phenomenally well. You look at Ohio State, they dominate the Midwest. You look at Texas, they recruit the state of Texas. Now, that doesn't mean USC can't go across the country and grab talent from all over the country. They certainly can do that. But this early on in the process, a lot of the attention should be going to the state of California. And I think there's probably a lot of USC fans that say, all right, 2026 guy, long way to go to National Signing Day. We just had a cornerback in Dominic Kelly decommit from USC in the 2026 cycle. What I would say is Joshua Holland is going to be a heck of a lot easier to hold on to his commitment because he's from St. John Bosco. You are going to have a lot of FaceTime with this kid. He's going to be on campus for USC a ton over the next 12 to 18 months. It's so much easier to hold on to a commitment from Joshua Holland as opposed to a guy like Justice Terry in Georgia, where he's on campus for USC in the spring, doesn't get back on campus at USC. Kirby Smart probably seen him 5 to 7 times within that stretch. And so you look at Joshua Holland and say, USC is going to be able to get in front of this kid awfully early and often over the next 12 to 18 months. So you feel good about this commitment sticking. And so I am a massive fan of Lincoln Riley. And I think one thing to kind of talk about is, hey, Lincoln Riley took this job less than 36 months ago. And so it probably took a couple of cycles to kind of build those relationships in the state of California. But the early indicator in this 2026 class with 4 out of your 5 commitments being California kids, maybe Lincoln Riley is starting to dig his teeth into the state of California, start having those relationships with families and high school coaches from across the state. And maybe that leads to a little bit more success in the state of California. I think that is a massive trend for USC fans. You take a look at the 2026 class for USC, it is a top 3 class in the country. Again, 5 commitments. You got 4 of them from the state of California. That's my biggest takeaway. Now, you get into Joshua Holland. What I want to start with is I love that Danton Lynn and Doug Belk are on the same page, and it is very clear in terms of what kind of cornerbacks they want to fill this roster with. That is long cornerbacks that can play press man, that can be physical at the line of scrimmage. And I think from just a pure trait standpoint, it's nice to see this staff kind of on the same page in terms of the kind of cornerbacks that they want to fill this roster. And you go back to what they landed in 2024. You go back to what they grabbed in the transfer portal, guys like the Carlos Nicholson and John Humphrey. Very clear what kind of cornerbacks USC wants in this roster. And I think the last conversation to have is look at the state of California. Not only do you have the number 1 prospect here right in your backyard, transferred to Mater Dei, and Chris Henry Jr., I would very much so keep an eye on USC for Chris Henry Jr., but the number 3 quarterback in the country, Ryder Lyons. Again, USC making a push for him. You have Brandon Lockhart committed. I would love to see USC just do a little bit better of a job in the state of California in this 2026 cycle. And if they do, USC is going to finish with one of the better classes in the country. There is enough talent in the state of California to build very good recruiting classes in year after year after year. And again, those commitments get a heck of a lot easier to hold on to when they're in your backyard. That's my biggest takeaway. Joshua Holland, not a ton of film on him as a sophomore, so we'll kind of circle back and get into some Joshua Holland film as we get more over the next couple months. Wanted to hop on and just kind of point out the obvious. USC getting it done in the state of California. Massive takeaway. We'll cut it there. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. Again, if y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.